at the table in terms of the bracket on the big stage, looking ahead to Key Arena coming up in July. And NAR, they look great in Game 1, man, and there has to be some adjustment made from Team Liquid. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like, NAR's basically just had Liquid's number, correct?
Yeah, they've beaten 4 times now in this tournament. 4-0 against Liquid in this tournament alone.
That's surprising.
So it's not a good matchup for Liquid, I've got to say. This is not a good matchup. I don't feel like Liquid is able... They're not doing too well against teams that have a game strategy of where they take control of the early game, and then in the mid game they hold that advantage, and going to the late game they still can hold that advantage. NAR is a team that doesn't let go of their advantage, which is very, very scary, and they're looking... No one expected them to be this good, I don't think. Like, Brax hasn't played Dota for a while, to be honest with you. Yeah. He took a vacation from Dota. I played a little bit with him for a few weeks. He's a very smart player. Like, as far as, like, this play style, he knows how to, like, rotate around the map, knows the timings. They spent a lot of time in China, 1437 in Brax, and I think that's where they learned how to play this type of play style, and they're executing it very well here in the North America.
Yeah, I would say what I've seen of NAR, and especially in Game 1, the word that comes to mind is methodical.
Yes.
You don't see a whole lot of erratic play. You don't see a whole lot of YOLO plays or FTF plays.
Maybe Snake King's the only one that does the YOLO what the fuck plays, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's actually how I usually...
If they can hold Snake King down, it's like, all right, focus Snake King.
But get him...
Because he's a really good player. You saw how many arrows he hits, but if he focuses, he's a great player.
Yep, and that's instead of YOLO, I usually like refer to them as for the fuck of it. It's like, why are you up there, fuck of it? But if they don't really have that about them, and that does make them a very intimidating opponent. I agree with you, just because you know that they're not going to be giving you a whole lot of openings early on, and what few they do, you have to capitalize, because if they come out at a break-even or they come out into the mid-game with a lead, it's going to be very, very difficult to rely on them to give you even more of those openings looking late. So how about we take a look at the draft as the bans and picks are in for the first phase in both. We've got Treant and Mirana banned out for by NAR. It's going to be an IO and a Connell ban for Team Liquid, now with the DK being banned out as well. Luna going to make an appearance here in the first phase. She's teamed up with Shadow Demon. Morphling and Bat Rider picked up for Team Liquid. Luna, Shadow Demon, and especially when you see the Morphling right there, depending on where they want to run it. Dazzle is a hero that I think NAR is got their eye on.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good hero with Shadow Demon and Luna. If Luna gets low, you can grave her. Just defensive heroes. Just keep that Luna alive for as long as you possibly can, and she can deal the damage. Team Liquid, I like where they're going with this. Quakefoot is their Morph player, so I like to see him play Morph. I like seeing Bulba on Bat Rider, and I can guarantee you Bulba that game was like, all right, I got a Blink Dagger like 15 minutes. And like, I do not want to be stuck in that lane farming and not have any jungle priority this game. So please, please let me have that jungle. So I'm expecting him this game to get a much faster Blink Dagger and have a much bigger impact on the game, because his movement is very good on that hero, and he plays one of the best Bat Riders in North America, and maybe even the world.
Yeah, oh no, I don't think there's any doubt about it. And so much of that, again, it comes down to experience. And you know, this is still online at this stage, but especially looking ahead, that comes into play so hugely. Just knowing, and not just experience in terms of, oh, he's played Dota for a long time, but knowing the teams, knowing the players, knowing how they move, knowing how they react to being, say, tucked under their own tower, and just knowing a bat's going to be in the woods, like knowing what angle to take. And, yeah, I think it really was just hugely detrimental to everything Liquid wanted to do whenever you take a hero like that, like a Bat Rider, and a player like Bulba, and say, okay, you are going to be at the bottom of the barrel in terms of our priority.
And that's what we were talking about last game. Bulba is the player that needs to have a good start on this team. And we see time and time again, if he does not have a good start, this team struggles. So they need to prioritize Bulba's good start here. And looking more into the draft, we do have the Morphling. One thing I do want to note is this argument goes both ways. This is the Luna versus Morphling kind of like one-on-one matchup. The good thing that Morphling has against Luna in the late game, you can replicate the Luna, so you get the bouncing glaives, which is very strong in the late game. But in the early game, Morphling's a hero that wants to get in there and more strength. But against Luna, you isolate yourself, and she can pop that ult, and Morphling just evaporates against that. So he's forced into going to a straight BKB, which I don't think necessarily all the BKB rushes I see on Morphling aren't very effective. Morphling likes to go into Lincoln Sphere, into that E-Blade, and get BKB like his third or fourth item. He does not like to get early if he wants to shine. So that could be a little problem for Liquid. I prefer the Luna in this matchup, but some people argue for the Morphling. We'll see how that one turns out, though.
Well, I mean, both are mid or late game monsters, of course, but That's always kind of the bugaboo against Morphling. Like, Luna can always show up to a fight, and if she's positioned correctly and has her teammates in front of her, she can have a huge impact through nothing but the aura, and of course through Eclipse and through Lucent Beam. So she can start coming to fights early. Morphling really just needs a whole lot more help in the first 20 to 30 minutes. He can come in and give you some waveform damage. He can farm like hell. He can even give you some split push, depending on how his item progression builds. But I'm right on board with you. You know, whenever you're forced on a Morphling to go for an early BKB, it just delays that progression even more. It delays his impact on the game even more to a later stage. And when you have a Luna who's arguably likely to be on the same level of farm, she can just start doing a lot more, and all of a sudden it begins to feel like 4.5 versus 5.
Right, and this is Morph is now forced into first pick BKB. And when you
Disruptor.
play against a Disruptor, you have to get BKB on Morphling, or else you are just going to be food. So this could be a rough game for Morphling, but if he does get a good start and can get up that early shot game, heroes like Shadow and heroes like Disruptor are instant kills. They are not innately tanky heroes whatsoever, and I'm curious to see what Liquid's going to pick up here. They do not have any supports. They already revealed their off lane, and I believe they do play Morphling only mid. They could play it safe lane, I'm not sure, but we've seen TC mid for the past 3 games, I want to say. So I'm not sure if they make that transition, say like TC, it's your turn to play Morph, considering Quickfoot played it the whole time.
Right.
But I think this is a time where they're going to like, okay, TC, you go safe lane, Quickfoot, go back mid.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's any doubt about it that it's going to be a Quickfoot Morphling. They've had too much success, and this is not a time. I mean, maybe if you're going to change something up, game one's when you do it, and we kind of saw that a little bit. But down a game in a match that matters this much, I don't know that you want to keep pressing your luck and trying to throw curveballs whenever you've got a fastball that's as good as it is.
Right.
So, NAR, with the front 3 of the Luna, the Shadow Demon, and the Disruptor, we actually see they banned the Dazzle themselves. Thought that would have been a nice pick for them, but not the case on the side of Liquid. They decided to go ahead and grab a 3rd pick Rubik after banning the DK and the Kunkka. I actually really like the Kunkka ban from them. He's a hero that's beginning to see a bit more popularity, and he's just so good in a lineup that has this much potential to bring the pressure to you. I mean, Luna, she does take a while to come online, but if you give her momentum, she can push, she can split push, she can do great, but it's more the Disruptor and the Shadow Demon and the way they can carve a map up. You put that with a Kunkka, and it can get out of hand really quickly. So taking that out and now securing the counter pick support in the Rubik.
Yeah, as you can see with North American Rejects, the Dazzle would have been a good pick. They already had the Shadow Demon. You can tell by their 2 bans from the Lich and the Shadow Priest, they knew what they wanted from the get-go. They knew Disruptor's a great hero against Bat Riders, we saw last time, and it's great against Morphling. They would have loved to have a Dazzle, but they prioritized Disruptor, and I have to agree with that. I think Disruptor would be more useful here than a Dazzle would be. So North American Rejects, as always, feels like they know what they want going into the draft. Whereas I feel like Liquid sometimes is just kind of going along with the draft, and they don't really have a set games.
Well, we're waiting to see another support pick and ostensibly a 1 position come out from Team Liquid.
Oh, I love that pick so much.
Yep, that makes so much sense.
Titan is so good against Morphling.
Yes. And whenever it comes down to just, I mean, natural order, we've seen it. We saw it in it was one of the marquee plays, honestly, of the entire qualifier. You get Elder Titan on top of a Morphling. If you can lock that Morphling down for any amount of time, get an Astral Spirit on top of him, he is meat.
Yeah.
Just complete meat.
He likes to morph his agility, morph to agility, so he has a ton of agility for that shotgun combo, which gives him a lot of armor. And Elder Titan negates all of that armor, which makes him extremely squishy. Titan, I want to say, is one of the better hard counters. A lot of people are like, okay, a good hero against Morphling is like the A, so you can't morph strength. But I feel like Titan may be even better with that.
Right. No, Titan's one of those heroes that had his day, then he fell off, but we're beginning to see him come back as a very situational pick. And honestly, it's kind of reaching a point where against some heroes, you have to wonder why he isn't banned out. Like if you pick a Morphling this early, what's more scary to you? Looking at the front end of the draft, is that Elder Titan when you pick a Morphling in the first phase more scary, or the Kunkka? And I feel like they might have been better off banning the Titan.
Yeah, a lot of people, since Titan, as you said, fell off the map, they just forgot about him. And then NAR is one of those teams like, all right, this is great. So we're going to see this more going into TI, since Morph is a very popular hero. I guarantee we're going to see more Titan counters to this Morphling. And we're going to have an Ursa pickup. I believe TC does love playing this hero, so we're going to have TC playing on this Ursa. And it's decent here. Ursa is one of those heroes that has to get a lot done in the mid game.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get your Blink Dagger, and you have to start getting the picks. And luckily, there are a lot of heroes he can kill. I mean, the Disruption is annoying. The Glimpse will be annoying too. But once he gets that BKB up, it's going to be very easy kills, minus the Purge from the Shadow Demon. That's the only thing that'll be fairly annoying for him.
Yeah, that's kind of, honestly, what I'm thinking with that Ursa pick, it's understandable, but it is loading pretty much all the pressure of say between 10 and 30 minutes onto his shoulders.
Yeah, he needs to get a lot done with this Bat Rider.
And they have a ton of answers to him is kind of the problem. Like whenever you look at what NAR is going to have, I mean, depending on how he builds, do you think this is a Blink Dagger Ursa game, or do you think he rushes something else?
I think Blink Dagger is always the best build on Ursa. You just get in there, get your damage done quickly. You can just blow heroes up like Disruptor before he can even glimpse you back.
Right.
Like he will die before the glimpse sends you back. That's how fast you kill that hero.
See, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. So if you're going to be prioritizing, obviously, a set of boots and a Blink Dagger, that's going to delay a BKB. And against this team, that is going to be, especially now with a Storm Spirit, that's going to be so hard to deal with because now you have the ability to disrupt a target that's engaged by the Ursa just to buy time. You're going to have Demonic Purge to slow him down so he can't pursue. You're going to have to deal with Kinetic Field Static Storm if you happen to get caught out. And that's to say nothing, of course, of what you were just talking about, the Glimpse. Now you have a Storm Spirit that, at least for a moment before the Magic Community is there, can disable the Ursa and allow you to get away. Also a very, very tough to track down hero in that Storm. And look at Liquid. Where are the stuns?
They just have Telekinesis and Lasso, which are good. They're good disables.
But
unfortunately for them, with their whole lineup progression, Ursa's one of those heroes that has to do very well in the mid game. I really do fear for them in the late game, considering they have that hard counter to the Morphling and the Elder Titan. They do have that Luna, so their late game is just as good, if not better, with that Storm pickup. I think Storm will be much more useful than Ursa the later the game goes on.
Yeah, agreed.
So they're gonna have, right, especially that Nyx Assassin.
That helps.
Team Liquid is all about the pickoffs right now. They're going to need to find this game, just find the picks, where North American Rejects will always have the team fight advantage here.
And that's kind of what I was getting at whenever I said where are the stuns is as the game goes later, the Nyx helps a little bit. I mean, Impales are tough enough to hit as it is, so on a Storm Spirit even more difficult. But that Storm Spirit, there's just not a whole lot to account for him. Yes, you're going to be able to lift, but as soon as he comes back down, he's going to be able to jump away again anyway. And Morphling has to have room. I honestly think it's such a tough decision. Like you said, the necessity of a BKB on a Morphling, it just jumps out at you. But I think with this team, he's going to have to start coming to fights a lot earlier. And I don't what do you think is going to be the compromise there, if any?
1 second. Looks like the game disconnected. All right, so we're having some server problems real quick. But yeah, the Morphling does have to go BKB. They can't 5-man either. I'm going to have to give the drafting advantage to NAR here. I think their draft is very strong. And from the looks of it, this is going to be a support Nyx. I have not seen that in a very long time. And there's a reason people stop doing that. It's because he gets his level 6 too late. And it's just, when you put him on the off lane, he gets that Blink Dagger, he gets his Arcane Boots, and level 7 really quickly. He can start solo killing heroes. Where when you're on that 4 position, it's a lot harder to get that type of job done. Maybe Ursa will start moving really early and give space to Nyx, which they're really going to have to do this game.
You think is there any possibility you think for kind of doing something wonky with the lanes, starting out with maybe a duo lane of like Nyx and Bat just to get the Bat to level 2, then the Bat ducks into the jungle
on like the off lane?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way Liquid thinks, so I don't think that will happen. And still having some connection problems, so it looks like we're gonna have a small break here.
All right, guys. Very sorry, obviously out of our hands, but too many viewers. You broke Dota TV and you broke the servers. We're working on getting back into the game. Now this will be NAR taking on Team Liquid in Game 2 with Liquid trailing 0-1. We've been breaking down the draft, and we certainly have recapped everything to death. So what I think we're going to do is take a quick break until we have a chance to get this back up, because honestly, at this point, it would be pure repetition. And,
it would be.
And everyone else is just kind of hanging out.
We need to figure out if we're reconnecting or there's a new lobby hosted.
Right. So I'm AC. You can follow me on Twitter. It's @AC @AYESEE. This is my good fan. Good fan. My good
I'm
fiend.
a fan.
My good friend.
I am a fan.
I'm a fan of you too. My good friend Fear. You can find him on Twitter @FearDota. Make sure you check us out there, and make sure you stay locked right here to the North American Hub coverage of TI4 presented by Monster Energy. Game 2 of Liquid versus NAR, the grand finals of the Americas Qualifier, coming up next. We'll be right back. And we're back. Looks like we finally got everything remade, and the players picking their heroes now. You and I were talking just during the little bit of downtime we had here. All of this game is going to be riding on that Ursa's shoulders, like in so many ways.
Whenever you pick an Ursa, it's not one of those heroes you can play back with and just kind of farm up. I mean, I play a lot of Ursa. I love the hero. There's only one thing that I can really suggest with them is just getting your Maelstrom up and farm. But it looks like we're going to go back in the game right now. They just picked up the heroes.
All right, so they're going to be rolling out. And again, if you're just joining us, this is game number 2 of the America's Qualifier Grand Finals. Both of these teams will be on their way to Seattle for the International 4 coming up very soon. But still a lot on the line. The winner of this match will be earning their place at the table and straight into the bracket, while the other will have to battle out with the other second-place finishers from the other qualifiers that we have coming up ahead of us. Still 3 left, SEA, Europe, and China. And, of course, we begin our SEA coverage later tonight, so make sure you keep up with that. But for the moment, looks like both teams are valuing the same piece of real estate. Ward's going down.
Yeah, looks like they want to give Brax a little easier time down here, be able to see when he's getting smoked out. And if they mess up the lane equilibrium and they have this ward down, they're not going to be able to do any creep pulls. So we'll see if they're able to find this ward. Do they have any sentries up on any of their heroes? They do have one on Nyx. It looks like they're going to find one of the sentries. Will they find both? That is the question.
Managing to grab one, and looks like they just pinged it, actually. Yeah, that actually was way too pinging it right almost directly on top of that. And still got his sentry. We'll see where he's going to want to put it. Look at this. Just telling him exactly where to put it.
Yeah.
And, okay. Not going to drop it yet.
They'll notice once it does not spawn, and they'll give a stab at it. And on mid lane, is this going to be a dual lane, or is he just camping here for a minute? Looks like he's just going to give him a little bit of Thunderstrike harass in mid lane, which hurts Morphling a lot because he likes to morph his thing down all the way down, only 400 HP. That Thunderstrike will do a lot of damage and force him off the lane, giving a little bit of space to Korok here.
Yep, just helping him out. And this is kind of what we were talking about. And we can see a little bit of trading in the paint between Brax and Way2 right now, but that bottom lane should be pretty quiet for the most part, so long as Brax stays safe. Brax had a great game last time. He's like, wow, Koikva's very low, actually. Having to morph strength now. Look at that. One last little click. Woo-hoo-hoo. 9 HP away from giving up first blood there. And, yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good job of causing some problems. Now they're going to come on down. Regen picked up by that Disruptor, and Koikva getting some help from Demon. This is much needed help.
Unfortunately, Nyx is not one of those heroes I can do too much. He can go back and harass him back, but he's going to have his bottle soon, so that's not a big deal. And Thunderstrike is one of the more high damage level nukes in the game, which really hurts Koikva because, like I said, his HP pool is very small when you morph into this much strength. And 1437 can play up like that because he knows there is no Impale on top of Demon Ram, going for that level 1 mana burn.
I'll tell you what, the other nice benefit of this is forcing that rotation away from the safe lane is going to give Brax an even better start. He's going to be able to get a little bit closer. As of right now, still rather low level, but eventually he's going to be able to start really getting up and into experience range. And let's take a look at his experience. I actually want to see if he's been able to suck any. Rubik's sitting at level 1, but I guess we'll take a look at Brax a little bit later. And about a half a level advantage right now for Korok in mid. And let's see how Brax is doing as he's now making a run for that Illusion Rune. Yeah, he's right about there too. So as of right now, even with the Nyx Assassin gone, they good deny. Way2 getting the deny on the Illusion Rune. He's been zoned out pretty well so far. You think that's going to continue?
Yeah, it's how they control this bottom lane. Titan is not one of those heroes that can force experience. Not against the lane. Like, one of the strong points on Ursa, as I was mentioning before we got back in the game, is he's an absolute beast in the laning phase and in mid game. He falls off in the late game. One way you can deal with that is kind of get a Maelstrom, farm up a little bit of the jungle with it. A lot of teams are doing early Mask of Death Rush. At level 5, you can actually solo Roche. But at this level, I don't think that's really viable. As soon as Ursa goes off the map, they're going to be checking Roche constantly. So Ursa's going to have to get a lot of work done this game, I got to say.
Well, right now we can see there is a bit of a problem emerging.
Chicken snipe time.
Yep, giving a shot to the old bunny.
Oh, that has a bottle on it too. Koikva will be in big trouble if they get beautiful rotation from the chicken.
Yep, and we see from the chicken and upgraded immediately. And now 1437, he's just level 1. He could be in trouble here.
What is going on?
1437 caught out as Demon was there anticipating it, lying in wait and setting the ambush. And
that tower, he can't run through there without getting hit by the tower. This is going to be our first blood.
Yep, that's not your base, 1437. Sorry, buddy. He's going to crest the high ground. Tower is going to take the kill there as Demon watches on. And first blood going to Team Liquid that time. That really was just such a heads-up play, because not only did they get the courier out of the way, but they also had Demon there to make that happen.
That's all on 1437. I gotta say, he really wanted that chicken, but yeah, that was one of the weirdest first bloods I've ever seen. But whatever. Anyways, moving on. First blood to Demon. Now that's a good way to get your Nyx into the game, and he's gonna be stacking up this camp here for the Morphling. So when he gets the levels up, he'll be able to spam waveform there, throw an Impale down too. Do that a couple times, and that'll be a lot of gold going the way of Liquid.
I gotta say, I like the way this is actually panning out for Liquid now. At 4 minutes in, if you start to look, the Disruptor and the Elder Titan both, last I checked, were still level 1. I don't know if 1437 got much. Yeah, they're both level 1 right now, and they harassed out Koikva. We're making his life a living hell. But look where Koikva sits.
They're going on Titan here. This could be a first blood. Ursa's damage is insane.
Nope. Not first blood, make it second. It's the first one that made any sense. But regardless.
That last kill didn't count.
Yeah, so 2-0 Liquid. I actually think this laning phase is heavily in Liquid's favor. And Koikva, we can switch back to the last hits. The thing is, they harassed him, but look where he is. He's within very, very close range of the tops on the board. The Ursa at 26 and 24 for Luna. So even though they dedicated so much time to that mid lane and they really scared the hell out of him, getting him down to 9 HP at one point, it just hasn't translated to anything except a lead for Liquid.
And I totally blundered here on that stack. That stack is actually going to Batrider. It's not going to be going to the Morphling. And he's doing really good on this offlane. He's almost level 5 now, and we've got a disruption. And what was that disruption on?
Koikva.
Oh, just a Koikva, okay. Nothing big there. Anyways, moving on, like, this Batrider will have a good game this time. He's level 4. He's got, like, a quad stack there or something. This triple, yeah, that's a quad stack for Batrider. So he is going to have an impact this game, and this is what Liquid needs to be doing. They need Bulba to have this good start.
Yep. Liquid, or I can just imagine Bulba in the chat like, yeah, that's mine. Yeah, after that last game, I got dibs. Got dibs on that stack, thanks. But yeah, like, I actually think Liquid is looking great. And at 5.5 minutes in, we do see the Elder Titan has finally soaked up a bit of experience. Looks like they must have gotten a wave a little bit too far out, as he did find level 3. So, I mean, not the biggest deal, but still nice for him to get a little bit of a catch-up. And now we see Demons actually rotating up the top. He's level 3 as well. There will be a push going into the Tier 1 at top. Luna leading in CS at 36. He's hooked up with Fog. Is this, how do you feel about it for Liquid? Do you feel like that this has gone as well as they would have liked?
This has gone perfect for them. This is what they need, and they need to keep doing this. The only thing that they're going to have a problem with is probably team fights. Like, the team fight potential from NAR is huge. So if they can just avoid team fights, get the picks with the Batrider, win the laning phase, that's what they just need to keep doing, and then they'll be able to snowball, get more some items, get this Ursa to a point where he can start killing heroes, and he's well on his way to that Blink Dagger if that is what he wants. There's different ways you can build Ursa, this new patch, because if Fury Swipe is no longer like an orb, so you can even get Desolator on that hero now, which hits like a truck. It makes you really squishy, but you can blow heroes up in like 3 hits with that. So I'm very interested in how players choose to play Ursa with that new change.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I mean, mobility, but again, mobility is really a big deal, and that's something else we were talking about during our downtime earlier. Is when you look at NAR, you've got Luna who's going to be kind of far out of the fight if coming in the fights at all. You've got great abilities that just confound an Ursa who's trying to chase down a target, namely Shadow Demon, being able to disrupt a primary target, being able to hit him with the Demonic Purge to slow him. You're going to have to contend with Kinetic Field and Static Storm, and Storm Spirit is going to be a very tough target to track down as well. And then you've got Elder Titan, who, you know, the damage output on NAR is kind of concentrated, at least in these early phases, on the Storm Spirit and the Luna, but just having him present means Ursa, even with lifesteal, even no matter what, he actually has picked up a Morbid Mask, by the way.
He's really abusing the fact that he has an Orb of Venom too, and you could not do this before. You couldn't get either of those items and have them still work. So new Ursa change, he knows about it and he's using it to the full extent.
You think this is the right approach?
I don't know what Orb of Venom, how good it is on this hero. I'm sure it's fine, especially if he's choosing to go less points in Urshock. So we'll see. That Orb Venom does mean he wants to be aggressive early, which I do like to see.
At top, NAR, continuing to try to pressure this Tier 1, but the Nyx Assassin there, played by Demon, actually doing a good job of holding it together. And in the meantime, Brax will be denying that bottom Tier 1. So, yeah, like Liquid holding one tower and pushing another down. And do you think that they've done enough work? I mean, obviously, as we talked about during the draft, a lot of it comes down to, one, when the Storm Spirit begins to get active and if they're able to do much to deal with him, but more importantly, the Bat and the Ursa and the way they're going to work, especially with Demon getting a fair amount of experience on this Nyx Assassin. Yeah, he's almost level 6 too.
Yes.
Do you think Liquid has put themselves in a good enough position at this point?
They're in a great position right now. And when Bulba gets his Blink Dagger, which is going to be directly after the stack. Was there another stack over there? All right, he already cleared that. But after this, he's going to have his Blink Dagger. Then I guarantee you he's probably going straight to the Storm Spirit, going to pick him off with the Morphling. And mid's kind of becoming a problem too. Quakefoot is doing really well in this mid lane. He's free farming right now. And that's not something you want to see. You don't want to see a Morphling free farming. They do have ways of dealing with them, but those come into more like the late game. But if he gets too fat too early, they're going to have a hard time dealing with him.
Blink Dagger up on Bulba, as you mentioned. Looks like he's rotating elsewhere, though. Yep, he's going up to top.
To the Luna. All right, that's a good choice, too. Luna and Storm Spirit will be his main choices. They're running like a dual-core lineup, so that's who he's going to want to prioritize on. And hopefully they go for him instead of the Disruptor. But
Any
we'll
pick
see
would be
what they
nice.
choose.
Oh, he's coming out. Yeah. Oh, this is such a good opportunity for them. They have to see it. And
oh!
Bulba missed with it. That's a Rage Flame Break. That should have been an easy kill. And a huge... Oh, you know how it is, man.
Yeah.
When you play bad
mid lane.
and mid, Quakefoot in trouble, morphing strength, though. And, yeah, Korak just can't DPS him down enough. Now he has to run as Quakefoot was just 1 second away from a waveform. Thought about maybe pursuing him out, but the TPO prevented. But yeah, you know how it is when you play the bat and you miss a lasso. You just throw that flame
definitely
break.
a Rage Flame Break. His blink was a little short, and you know the new change to Bat Rider Lasso, the range on it isn't as good.
Yep.
So you have to be directly on top of them with that blink, and a little short that time. But they're going round 2.
And let's see, got it that time. There's good disruption. I don't know that they really have the help that they're going to need. The Impale's there to follow it up. This still will be a death. But Fog doing all that he could. No Rage, see, no Flame Break, man. Didn't need it. Not mad. He's happy.
And yeah, so right now this is everything Liquid could ask for. All their lanes are going well, all 3 of them. So they're off to a great start this game. They had to play aggressive this game. They chose with their draft, like, we need to be the aggressors this game, and we're confident in our ability to be the aggressors. And they're doing a good job of it so far.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there comes a point, I mean, when you see what Quakefoot's done on this Morphling, he's played it almost the entire qualifier. Ban him. Just be done with it. They give away value pick whatever. There's not a whole lot of higher value on any player than a Morphling on Quakefoot, at least over the last few days. So maybe regretting letting him through. NAR, though, has yet to show us the teamfight potential that we know that they have. And, you know, Liquid has, and I think that's due as much to Liquid playing well as it is to NAR just being behind. I mean, Liquid is not really giving them a whole lot of opportunity.
No, their lanes have just been way too strong. I mean, their early game, they really needed to have a strong early game as well, or at least not a weak early game, because Liquid has one of those lineups. If you have a weak early game, they will snowball off of it. And having that early first blood was a problem. And it looks like they might be able to catch up Brax here, but do they have the follow-up?
There it is. There's a Vendetta. Impale whiffed it a bit. And Demon actually started to impale at one point and stopped. TC was right there with him with phase boots. Might have been able to get into range for an Earth Shock. 2 points into it, as we can see. But we have yet to see TC really start to rotate around. And when he starts moving,
for his item, yeah, he almost has Blink now. He's like one more creep, he'll have it if that's what he wants to go for. I assume it is. Maybe it won't be. He did pick up the early Mask of Death. I'm not sure why, if he doesn't want the Vlads or he want to do an early Roche. Maybe he just wanted to duck in the jungle with it, but we'll see now what he wants to do. It is going to be the Blink Dagger. So he can actually just solo kill Brax right now with that if he wanted to, but he does see people are missing. So good game sense from TC, saying heroes are off the map. That does look like a juicy target, but there's 2 smoked behind him. And there's 3 smoked behind Liquid. So
looks like everyone's ready to go, man.
Yeah.
Items are out. Liquid certainly willing to push their advantage. And rotating 3, they're going to hook up with that Ursa Warrior. In this bottom lane, there are 2 very appetizing targets right now in Brax and Korak. Korak going to have his smoke pop. They're going to go for it. Here's the ball lightning over. Immediate reactions. And now they're going to try to chase down Way 2. Way 2 got glimpsed back. And now trying to follow it up. But no, just blown up immediately. Storm Spirit not at all part of this fight. And Luna using the Eclipse and doing good damage. But Quakefoot sweeping left to right. Fogged with the desperation disruption, not gonna prevent a full 5-man wipe as Liquid, with all of that advantage, using it all at once, and that's a clear board for Liquid on their bid to try to get this series back to even.
Liquid is in such great shape. We're talking about how Ursa needs to make an impact on this game. He's up to 3-0 now, full team wipe at like 12 minutes into the game. And yeah, at this point, they can just they're in a great spot right now. They just keep up what they're doing, and they can just get easy pickoffs after that five-man wipe. Storm struggling really hard, and that mid lane dying bottom was not what he wanted in his game plan. Brax also struggling. He has a bracer on him. That's it. And nobody is really farming well but Snaking, and he's going for more of a greedy build, which is easily punished on Liquid's lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before Snaking really comes online. We saw what we labeled as a strength of Luna, and it is. She showed up, and she's like, yeah, Eclipse, brothers, and then she just died. And then everyone died immediately after. The movement of Liquid, though, is really what's making this happen. And NAR, it feels like anyone who's ever played football, it's like whenever someone stands you up and you get on your heels, you lose your center of gravity, and all it takes is one little push and you're on your ass. Yeah. And it feels like that's what's happened to NAR. They're just stood up and can't get themselves stabilized. The Vlad's is now done on the Ursa as well, so his item progression continues. Top 3 in overall net worth, all belonging to Team Liquid, with that Ursa leading the way. 6,200, 5,800 for Koikva's Morphling, and 4,900, almost 5,000 even, for Bulba's Bat.
And it looks like Koikva will be going straight into that BKB, as we're saying. Much needed this game. Very much needed. And we're going to have some action on top lane.
Yep, they're going to go for it. Bigger shock. Snaking actually got disrupted. Good play by Fog to keep him alive. However, can they capitalize on it? Now we're going to see one go down. Storm once again. Earth Splitter actually connected on 3, and they have to run. What did Way 2 get? Didn't see. Doesn't matter. TC's being kited around right now. Will manage to get another kill, and the reinitiation from Bulba as he uses the lasso. This is going to be 5 down one more time.
GG.
That is a 10 for 1 exchange in about 120 seconds, about 2 to 3 minutes. 10 to 1 was the way that ended up playing out.
We were questioning if that Ursa could get the job in the early mid-game. I think we have our answer.
Yeah. Don't know that we could have been answered more emphatically. Can you say 13 to 1, my friend?
That was 2 5-man wipes in a row, pre-15 minutes.
Yep, pre-15 minutes. And just an absolute domination on the side of Liquid as they knot this series up and turn a best of 5 into a best of 3.
No words.
No words. Got nothing for you.
I mean, if you get team wiped twice in a row before 15 minutes, it's pretty much over. There's not much you can do to come back from that.
Well, let's throw it to these two guys, see if they got more in-depth other than Team Liquid. Pretty good. Pretty good.
GG in the tournament.
Oh.
Nice.
I think that was a really fast GG we just witnessed right now.
Yep.
That was
all right.
Great analysis.
I like TC on Ursa.
To be serious though, I really don't like the idea of running Elder Titan offlane on Dire. I think he's extremely weak. It's one of those offlaners who is completely side dependent. He's very easy to keep away. He doesn't have any way of distorting the creep equilibrium. Sure, you can send in an Astral Spirit level 1. It's not enough. I'm gonna move to this side because I feel more comfortable over here. Hey Ben. Hey Ben. Okay.
We can be clueless together.
No, so first off, there was that thing. I was looking at the CS at one point. The Elder Titan had 3, I had 44.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yeah, he is bad on Dire, but especially against like an Ursa and Rubik lane, it's suicide.
Absolutely no way he can handle that lane. And then the mid lane, Storm lost to Morphling. I think even though he got a little bit of help early on from the Disruptor. So all the lanes this time around were just going Liquid's way.
Was that help?
I don't know. He harassed Koik for a little bit.
Well,
he
he
poked
ended
him
up
with a
running
stick.
into the wrong base.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. That's a good point.
That was kind of fun.
That was a little greedy. So
I really like TC on. I think he's a really good fighter. I don't really think he's that great of a carry / farmer. He doesn't pull through in the late game. But on Slardar and Ursa, those are probably the 2 that I view him the best at. And
yeah, he's good on Slardar.
He likes playing them well.
Yeah.
He does play a lot of Ursa.
You think we'll see more of that after this game in particular?
I hope so.
Yeah.
They had a lot of success with the Potom, and although the one game that NAR just kind of crushed him, he was on Potom, but his Ursa was really good.
Well, best of 5 becomes a best of 3 just like that, and it's going to be at a minimum 2 more matches. Looking ahead, I think, again, do you believe it's time to start banning Koikva's Morphling? He's had so much success with it throughout the entire tournament.
I don't know. I think it's been like a little bit of a mix. He's had some good games. He's had some not so good games. And the last time against NAR beat his Morphling in the upper bracket. So I'm thinking, I feel like if anything should be said about this game, I think it's a sign of strength from NAR that it just forfeit at 15 minutes. It's something you see I know this might sound a little contradictory, right? But
the really good teams do that.
The really good teams are like, okay, we don't want to even use energy on this game. We messed up. We made mistakes. It's best of 5. We have the first game. Just go next, right?
Yeah,
you can drain yourself playing a lost game. And I feel like if Liquid were in this position, they might have actually tried to fight for it. But I just feel like it shows that NAR just has like an excess energy, to be honest. But predictions so far, both Sunsfan and I said that Liquid were going to take the second game. I would not have imagined either of any game in this series to be 15 minutes, to be honest. But I feel like if you're NAR, you just reset after that game. I think that was just drafting and lane, the way they put the lanes only, which is a little odd because I feel like it's the first time NAR actually strategically lose a game.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they had a little different playstyle. Also before, they really liked to take tier 1 towers early.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have a lineup that excelled at that.
Well, looking ahead to the next game, predictions in a sentence or two apiece. Here?
I mean, I'm still going with my 3-1.
Right.
I mean, I'll stick to that.
Adjustments you think that are going to be made, if any?
The only it's hard to take a lot out of the draft that game.
Right.
For them, it was just like a lot of it started off really clowny with like the disruptor somehow ending up in the enemy team's base.
Right.
And they're feeding Nyx first blood. And I was worried at first, like Nyx is a little greedy here. They're not going to get enough out of the map by doing this, but he got it handed to him on a silver platter there for the most part. So as far as the draft goes, that just came down to play for me. So I don't think the drafts from either team were bad. I don't think